Hello, folks, and welcome back to The Slice after an extended break due to an investigation on a robbery that Novak Djokovic committed against Roger Federer in this year's Wimbledon. I'm just kidding, Djokovic fans, but congrats to your boy on winning his 16th Grand Slam, and condolences to Roger Federer fans, including myself, who had to watch a loss where we just thought it was in the bag, and he played great, and we don't know how it didn't happen. But we're back in action here on The Slice, and we're going to talk about how Nick Kyrgios pulled it all together again and won Washington, the ATP 500 event in D.C. We're also going to break down the Montreal draw and check into the Rogers Cup action that's already happened. So let's get into all this on this spicy episode of The Slice.
Welcome to The Slice.
Welcome to The Slice.
Welcome to The Slice.
Thanks for tuning in, folks. If you're new here, don't forget, click that subscribe button wherever it is right now, and you won't miss anything else coming up here in the American hardcourt season that we're now in. We got the Rogers Cup, and then we have Cincinnati at the Western and Southern Open, and then, of course, the U.S. Open. Now, we got rejected for a media pass for the Western and Southern Open. Obviously, they're not friends of the show. Too bad for them, because Miami got to enjoy the Slice, and Cincinnati won't this year. But we're still going to be bringing the best coverage, so stay tuned to The Slice throughout this season. If you haven't already, check out The Slice on Patreon. It's where you can support creators like myself and then get extra content that you can enjoy and make you a better fan. What we call it is the front row show, because you get closer to the action than you can on anywhere else on the internet. So we got some new things coming out for those fans. We call it the front row fam. So check that out in the link below right now. And after that, you can come back to this video, and we are going to get down to what happened in Washington. Well, I'll tell you what happened. Nick Kyrgios figured out or remembered how to stay focused and to try. Nick Kyrgios has obviously been a totally polarizing figure in tennis for a long time now, actually. He's not really a new player on the scene. The story of Nick Kyrgios is basically he's an insanely good talent from Australia, but he's also got some temperament issues that he's had in the past, and he's often shown that he doesn't care to play or train at the highest level, and he's just flat out said that sometimes. So that's who he is, and that's the way he plays. But when he plays and plays well, it's amazing to watch, and when he doesn't try and gives up, it's kind of ugly to watch. But all through my broadcasting season or time, sorry, I got something in my eye there, I've been a fan of Nick Kyrgios because I think he brings something new to the tennis game, and I just like when he's playing good, he beats the biggest guys, and he's like the contender to the big three that are out there consistently winning, and he actually has a winning record against guys like Djokovic, and he's beaten all three members of the big three. So Nick Kyrgios this week in Washington, I started watching his first match actually, and I noticed historically he's had trouble against actually smaller players where it doesn't seem to really matter when it's on a smaller court, but he seemed to be very focused and intense even in the early matches in this tournament against no-name players. So he can be intense where he can get really mad and angry and get mad or pissed off when he's not winning, but it was a different type of intensity I saw this week. He wasn't getting super mad. He was just getting frustrated when he wasn't doing the right things. And it looked like he was trying to do the right things and play the right way while still having that Nick Kyrgios flair. You see it, ATPTour.com just released like a highlight reel of his Washington time. It's absolutely nuts. Like this guy's, the way he can hit the ball is unfair. He's huge. He's like, when I interviewed him in Miami, we talked about lots of cool things. That's also come out on Patreon, and that is yet to come out on the full channel here. So another reason to join the front row fam. He's just a big guy. He's like 6'4", and nothing's really out of his reach. So yeah, he played great this whole tournament. He stayed focused. He only had two real challengers, which were Tsitsipas and Medvedev in the final. Good to see Medvedev playing good again after he had a hot fire start to the year. So Kyrgios stepped up to the challenge against those guys, winning 3 tiebreakers in those 2 matches. He seems to be a clutch player. We've seen that even against Nadal in Wimbledon. Even though he lost, he played good in those tiebreakers. And then, so when it gets to that clutch point, he seems to, maybe it's careless so he can play more free. I don't know. But at the end of the match against Medvedev, he actually turned around and asked the lady in the crowd, I think, where he should serve it, and then won the match. It was really cool. And what he said after the tournament was that, he always says things like up or down. He says these things where he's obviously a reflective person. And in this one, he said he used to get he was an overweight kid and he got told by coaches and all these people that he couldn't do something. And he seems to, so he's said he's like, I want to be an example to people who are told they can't do anything because you can do what you want if you work hard. And I think that he gets really fired up when people say he can't do anything or when people crap on him, which a lot of the commenters have. You know who you are. And yeah, it's kind of cool just to see him rally past that because he's still young. He's like, I think he's my age. He's got the talent to do it. And we got some questions. Beckett Chung, friend of the show, asks, he says, ask me to talk about how Nick Kyrgios just says that tennis is just a game. And I think that's great for Nick. Like it is just a game. It's obviously not his entire life, and that's why he doesn't put it into it, maybe the practice or dedication that other players have. But that's not a bad way to look at something which is technically your job. Playing tennis is your job. If you let your job become your entire life, your life will lack in other areas, whether that's your family, your friends, your faith, whatever it is. If you put all your eggs into one basket in your job, the rest of your life can start to dwindle. So we don't know what goes on in Nick Kyrgios' private life really, but he seems to not have his tennis career overimpose on that, which is pretty cool, I think. But I also think for Nick in the past, he hasn't tried as hard as at tennis. And he said he struggled with mental health issues like probably everyone has. It's not a weird thing. But I think when you try hard at your craft and you do an excellent job and you go about something the right way, which is working hard and trying to do your best, you feel good. And I hope this week has been like a good week for him in that area where he feels like he's put in the effort and that's gave him results. Doesn't mean that he doesn't have to be beating Roger Federer's Grand Slam record, but he can just be playing his best, and I feel like that is going to feel good for him. So congrats to Nick on that win. And a guy, I can't spell his name, Jorge Horvat maybe, asks, can Nick Kyrgios' form continue in Montreal, Cincinnati, in the U.S. Open? And I'm saying, of course it can. The key to him is focus and desire. If he has both those things, he's dangerous on any tournament, on any surface, I think. So it looks like right now, from what he's seen, we're seeing he's focused and he has the desire to win. So he could be dangerous at Montreal, which is happening. In the first round, he plays Edmund, which is tough. And he could be dangerous at Cincinnati. It's usually a faster court. And then at the U.S. Open, of course, he can as well. So never count him out. And it's good to see that he's back trying hard again. Now let's check into the Montreal draw. The Rogers Cup, didn't get an invite from them either for a press pass or from Tennis Canada. Weird because I'm Canadian, but keep sleeping, Tennis Canada. That's all right because I'd actually rather be in Victoria at the moment than Montreal. Not going to lie. But in the Montreal tournament right now is only one of the big three, which is Rafael Nadal. I don't know why. Like Federer's not playing because he doesn't like to play two tournaments back to back in front of the U.S. Open, which is a good idea. Don't know why Djokovic isn't here. He's probably trying to play a lot less as well. But Nadal's going to play both these tournaments, I guess. He's probably just playing Montreal because he's had a lot of success there before. He won last year. But let's just take a quick look at what the potential quarterfinals could be. Lots of great matches here. On the top, we'd have Nadal Fognini, if it all works out, obviously. Tsitsipas versus Nishikori. Khachanov versus Zverev. And then Medvedev versus Thiem. If all those matches worked out, it'd be extremely interesting. But I highly doubt that. As usual, there's probably upsets. With the most interesting matches that I see possibly, one of them already happened. Wawrinka beat Dimitrov, and you got to feel for a guy like Grigor Dimitrov. Like he's been trying to make a comeback to his form, and it seems like he's always just been running to Stanislas Wawrinka, Stanislas to Manislas. Like at the French Open and Wimbledon last year, he did that. And I think at Wimbledon again this year, he ran into him. But that's real tough because you're running into one of the greatest players of this generation in the first round. Because he's been injured, his ranking's not as high, so other guys like Dimitrov, who's also not been playing good, can run into him early. But that is just rough for Dimitrov. He still looks like he's focused out there. So good for him. Keep plugging away. I'm sure he'll get back into it. I think he has, I can't remember his name, but he fired his coach, I think, and he's got a new coach in his box. He recently retired player, so maybe that'll help. Another interesting matchup is possible matchup between friend of the show, Dan Evans, and Rafael Nadal. That would be a crazy matchup of styles, with obviously Nadal with huge topspin and power, and Nadal and Evans basically slicing 95% of his backhands and just hitting the ball with crazy precision and looking like he's not, like he actually just looks like an old Brit who sits at the pub all day. But he's actually insanely athletic. And got to talk to him again in Miami. And I've just loved watching this guy get back from a suspension. I'm a huge believer in second chances. We've all been given them, and I think it's sick. We're on team Evans here at the Slice, so you better be too. And then we have possible matchup, or we do have a matchup between Hubert Hurkacz, and Fritz. I've been on the Hurkacz train for a while now. Big fan of his. And Fritz has been playing super well, so that'll be an interesting matchup. And then that's in round one. And also in round one is Nick Kyrgios versus Kyle Edmund. Edmund has been kind of quiet for the last while, but he's got some serious power, but I think Nick Kyrgios is definitely the favorite in that matchup right now, citing what we've just seen in DC. So that's a quick look into Montreal. Obviously, we're going to have to check back in a couple of days, see what's been going on. But for now, that's the Slice on the Rogers Cup. So a couple housekeeping things. We have applied for a media pass at the Laver Cup, and I'm talking with them right now. So I'm interested to see, maybe if you want to see us there, go to the Laver Cup Instagram page. Be very nice about it. Maybe post and say, hey, bring out the Slice. Bring the Slice out to Geneva, and because we want them there. We want the Slice from the Laver Cup. I'd love to be there, so I'll keep you guys posted on the media pass situation. But until then, check me out on the Front Row Show, where I got more in detail on the Grand Slam race. I gave my opinion on if Djokovic is going to pass Federer with the all-time Grand Slam record, and a bunch of the other things in there. So click the link below to check that out. It's only $4 a month to support independent tennis journalism, and I guarantee you won't regret it. Or what you can do is just quit and not do it anymore. But it's $4 a month. Help a brother out. We'll see you next time on The Slice. Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching, folks. This has been The Slice Tennis News. Click down here on this green button to subscribe. Join the fam. Click up here to join the Front Row Show, which I just talked about. And click here to watch another video. That's probably going to blow your mind. Thanks, folks. See you soon.